and good morning to you. According to Ian Lundgold's breakdown of the Mayan calendar, today actually begins the second day in a 20-day period of the tune cycle for the ninth wave in the evolution of consciousness. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that means. It's the first night in this cycle. And I acknowledge right off the bat that Carl Calleman has recalculated his calendar based on fractal time, and for him the whole ninth wave doesn't begin until March 9th, which is a week from yesterday. But today, March the 3rd, according to Ian Lundgold's interpretation, is, as I said, it's the first night in this cycle. And I know there's all sorts of confusion, and Carl Calleman took responsibility for creating the confusion because initially he agreed with Ian Lundgold. Personally, I agree with Ian Lundgold as well, because there are 13 periods, 7 nights or 7 days and 6 nights in each cycle. And the final one is our 20-day cycles based on the tunes. There are 13 of them, and they're 20 days long. And this coincides with the Mayan calendar, and it also somewhat coincides with the period of human gestation, which is why I personally feel that this one is more correct than the other one. Although, as I've said before, it really doesn't matter. We are in a new energy. But I'm going to go and continue to go with what I first learned, that February the 11th was the first day of the ninth wave, not March 9th. But I'm not going to argue with anybody. If you want to go by March 9th, that's perfectly okay with me. I'm not trying to say that I'm right and the other way is wrong. I'm just saying this feels better to me. And it's purely based on intuition, nothing else. And it's my intuition, it's my feeling. If you have a different feeling, that's okay. So really what I'm going to talk to you about today is fundamentalism. And I think that's appropriate for the ninth night, because so many times as human beings, we believe that we have the true facts in a thing. A fundamentalist will always believe, well, these are the facts. Why don't you pay attention to the facts? For a Christian, a fundamentalist will say, well, God said it. I believe it. That settles it. These are the facts. What are facts? What are facts? Facts are pieces or bits of information that we have that we believe are true. It was a fact to many people at one point in our evolution that the world was flat. And if you traveled too far to one end, you would fall off the edge into God knows where. There are many things historically that mankind has accepted as the fact, the way it is. And then new information came out, and finally all of a sudden people would say, well, wait a minute, why did I believe that? There's now new information, new facts, if you will, that make the old facts incorrect. It's a new way of perceiving. It's a new way of looking at the whole thing. And our ego tends to focus in on what we believe is right. Because to a fundamentalist, love doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is, I have the facts and I'm right. And if you don't have the same facts that I do, well, you must be wrong. And it's my job to convince you that I'm right and you're wrong. And can you see? can you see how this attitude, this ego mind, if you will, creates problems? Because the person who has a different set of facts that you're trying to convince that you're right, you've now built a wall between you and that person. It doesn't matter what the field is. It can be religion. It can be politics. One can be a liberal. Another can be a conservative. And each bases their viewpoint on facts. Facts that they believe are true. Each thinks that their set of facts is the correct fact. There are food fundamentalists who believe that you can only eat vegetables. There are other people, less rigid, that are omnivores and believe that you can eat anything at all. There are people that believe you can't prepare your food in a certain manner, that you have to prepare it only in another manner, or preferably raw food. Don't cook it at all, because any type of heating destroys the enzymes or destroys the structure, the cellular structure of the food, and it makes it less digestible. There are all sorts of viewpoints, and I'm not here to tell you that mine are right and somebody else's are wrong. I'm not going to hold on to a fundamentalist viewpoint with you. Pretty much the only thing that I believe rigidly is that consciousness creates our reality. What we look for, we get. What we expect to find, we ultimately do find, and we find evidence to support it. I believe that. And I believe that this creates a separation, and separation consciousness ultimately leads to conflict and war, not to peace. I will be adamant in saying that. I believe the evidence that I have gathered in my life supports that. But if you still want to hang on to the idea that separation is the way of it, you can find lots of evidence, and I will acknowledge to you, I will let you have a given that it appears that human nature is egotistical, egocentric, wants to have its own way, wants to be right. I will give you that's the way it appears. Your facts certainly look truthful, and they are very convincing based on our recent past. They are very convincing. The energy that I live in is a different energy, and many others are beginning to live in that energy. That doesn't make it a fact, however. It makes it an awareness that it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. What matters is, do I love? Do I love? Am I willing to allow the person who has a different set of facts to be themselves? Imagine yourself in a relationship with someone who has one set of facts that are different than your set of facts. And they believe it's essential to convince you that their set of facts is the correct set. It's not going to be a happy relationship. Can you see that? I can, because I've experienced it in my life, where someone tried to convince me that their set of facts was the right set. And how could I be so stupid? And so automatically there would begin to come into the relationship argumentation through name calling, and how can you be so stupid? You're crazy to believe that. Oh. Well, I don't know about you, but if I'm told that I'm crazy and stupid, my natural way to respond is to react and to defend. But in the new consciousness, I don't have to defend, because it doesn't matter whether you agree with me or believe me or not. It doesn't matter. And I can allow you to be you. But I will not allow you to stay in my space and attack me as if I'm stupid for not believing your facts. I share this because it's part of my life experience. And I believe it's part of many people's life experience. It's the breakdown of relationships on interpersonal levels and intimate levels, as well as the breakdown of relationships between religions and between political parties and between cultures. The Christians think their set of facts are the right set of facts, and their whole mission is to save the world by getting the world to believe their set of facts. The Muslims believe the same thing. There are fundamentalist Hindus that I've heard about, fundamentalist Buddhists that believe that their particular viewpoint of and their interpretation of their scriptures is the correct one. And they have all the facts and all the evidence to prove that they are right. Spirit told me a long time ago when I was trying to determine which Christian viewpoint was the correct one. Eternal security, once saved, always saved, or you can be saved and then lost again. And I really thought it made a difference. And I went on a long fast, an extended fast, trying to find out which one was right so I could be right, because being right was important to me. And Spirit came to me in a beautiful vision, if you will, where the lights came on in the middle of the night, and Spirit just held me and said, life, love, laughter, those are the things that are important to me. Everything is alive. Love it. And when you're able to love everything, you will be able to laugh. It's not about right or wrong, correct or incorrect. And I didn't get it for a long time. But I'm really beginning to get it now. And it makes perfect sense to me that my whole mission, my whole job is simply to love. To love this beginning of the first night in this ninth wave of evolution, the evolution of consciousness. I'm getting it. And I choose to love, even if you have a different point of view. You're allowed to. You can be you when you're with me, and I will allow that because I'm choosing to love. I'm choosing to love. But if you can't allow me to be me when I'm with you, I probably won't want to spend as much time with you as I would someone that simply allows me to be me, because it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I want everyone to understand this dynamic. And when you understand it, you may understand why you sabotage things in your own life. Because you're trying to convince everyone else, or anyone else, that you're right and they're wrong. And that will always create division. So I want to leave you with that this morning. I'm not sure I even like this message, to be honest with you. It doesn't feel as good as some of the messages that I have presented. But I did feel it was important to present it because of things that have happened in my life recently and because of observations that I've made throughout my life of the ways things seem to work and how rigid I have been sometimes in not accepting someone where they were and actually pushing them away from me because I was trying to convince them that I was right. It doesn't matter. God bless you this morning. Namaste. What a message.